My name is Jonathan. I'm from YMCA Netherlands, among other things. And welcome to this meeting, Word by Word, 2021. It's an alternative event for a long-ranging youth exchange that's going to be organized. Mila?
Всем добрый день. Это Jonathan из YMCA Голландии. И это событие является таким тизером, скажем, трейлером, событием, которое мы хотим организовать в следующем году, международный эксчейндж молодых людей со всех стран. Кстати, это мой первый опыт перевода, поэтому, пожалуйста, если это странно или непонятно, дайте знать в чатике.
This event is going to be recorded, so this Zoom event, just so you all know that, be aware of that. I also will take screenshots.
Эта встреча будет записана, на всякий случай предупреждаем, и также будут сделаны скриншоты.
Hello, Anastasia. Today, we organized this event to talk about some really interesting and also really important issues. Remembrance, the remembrance of history, but also the history of today. So it's also about stories of themes like war and peace in the world of today.
Наше событие посвящено памяти не только войны, истории, но и связи с сегодняшним днем, поэтому мы будем рассказывать истории не только Второй мировой, но и современности.
But first we're going to get to know each other.
Давайте сначала познакомимся.
Very good. Before we start with the warming up activity, I want to ask everyone who hasn't done that yet to change the name, your Zoom name, into your name and where you're from, so your country.
Мы снова просим вас, если вы это еще не сделали, добавить ваше имя, чтобы мы могли его видеть, и написать страну, откуда вы.
Does everyone know how that works?
Если нужна какая-то помощь, как это делается, можно спросить. Может быть, Марина, по-моему, у вас нет страны.
All right. That having said, I leave the floor to Nata from Ukraine.
Give me a ball.
Передает слово Нате.
Give me a ball.
Give you a ball.
Take a ball. Thank you, Jonathan. Yes, hi, I'm Nata. I'm from YMCA in Ukraine, and I'm going today to make some warm up and to let us to introduce ourselves, who we are, and our relation to the topic.
Это Ната из Украины. Она будет сейчас проводить маленькую активность, которая позволит нам всем познакомиться поближе.
Yeah. First of all, I would like that each of us look around of you, the space you are. What is around?
Сначала нужно всем посмотреть вокруг, оценить пространство, где вы находитесь.
Yeah, and find one object that you can associate it now with your mood and condition.
И найти один предмет, который будет ассоциироваться с вашим настроением, состоянием сейчас.
It can be something spontaneous, that you see something, for example, your phone or medicine, or I don't know, everything that you want, that you associate with you, just bring this to the camera.
Это может быть все, что угодно. Просто возьмите это в руку и поднесите к камере.
Yeah. Okay, just... yeah, I see the, okay.
Oh.
A ball, something else. Okay, now we will hear about this short stories. Мы сейчас услышим маленькие истории об этом. Wow, okay.
So my idea was the window, so how to bring it?
You can show us a window, just when will be your turn to speak, you can show us a window. This is okay.
Okay.
What I want to ask you now, just to introduce yourself, tell a name, a country, and maybe why you choose this object. For example, I choose a cup of coffee, and because on one hand I'm excited now, but on other hand I'm waiting for a rest time.
Нужно будет рассказать немножко, почему вы выбрали этот предмет. Например, у Наты чашка кофе, потому что она волнуется, но...
Ну, я очень возбуждена, но одновременно и
В
хочу
хорошем
отдохнуть.
смысле. Отличное объяснение.
Да. And I ask you also to introduce yourself. Maybe if it's a coffee, I can even drink when I introduce. If it's something I can touch or I can show a window what is about now. So.
И, пожалуйста, представьтесь, соответственно.
Who wants to start?
Well, we start on the left upper hand of the screen, and for me, and that's Alex.
Okay, so the object I chose is a battery, because as everyone, we have our energy and we need to charge it or recharge it, and my mood is being energetic right now. My name is Alex, and it is written right here. I'm 16 and I'm from Romania.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
Да, это была история Алекса из Румынии. Ему 16, он выбрал батарейку как символ того, что у всех у нас есть батарейки, которые нам нужно заряжать, подзаряжать.
Thank you.
All right. We go to the second one. For me, that's Marius.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marius. I work for YMCA Europe and Roots for Peace project. And the object I choose, I think it's called in English a stress ball. No? So it's to put all the bad energy into the ball, getting it out from my mind to this ball.
Алекс выбрал, кстати, не знаю, как называется на русском этот мячик.
Антистресс.
Антистрессовый мячик.
Антистресс.
Мячик антистресс, да, чтобы всю негативную энергию вложить в этот мячик, а не в нашу встречу, очевидно.
Yes, and if everyone wants also some anti-stress yourself, you can also squeeze yourself. This is squeezing. If you need, we can. Yeah.
Нужно было выдать всем шарики антистресс перед встречей.
Если вам нужно, то вы можете в процессе сделать что-нибудь тоже такое антистрессовое. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Then it's me. Hello. I think Nata told everything, but coffee. Yeah. What do we do without it? I'm a bit stressed. I'm a bit in need of energy. So I have my coffee machine.
У Йонатана похожая история на Нату. У него кофе-машина. Чайничек для кофе.
Valentin?
So, hello, everybody. My name is Valentin, and I use this wooden block. It can help you to something like for stress, you can use it. But as for me, it's block to make everything that you want. For example, you can make bridges, you can play with your children. So it's nice thing. Переведу. Меня зовут Валентин, всем добрый день. Выбрал вот такую вот деревянную игрушку, блок. Классная штука, можно строить, как говорится, мосты. Можно играть со своими детьми, и полезная штука. Вот так. So,
спасибо, thank you.
So, next one.
Irina.
Well, I chose this bee. First of all, it's a present from my sister, and today is my sister's birthday. And the second reason is that bees are hard worker, and I am in the mood to start working hard. So, next one, Mila, I guess.
Irina, do you speak Russian or do you need to translate it?
No,
because
I
can.
Both. First you translate, then you speak for yourself.
Okay, because I barely heard what you said, and
Я выбрала пчелу, потому что день рождения у сестры. Это я поняла.
Вот это было последнее, да, что я поняла. Первое и последнее.
Your turn, Mila.
Hi everyone, my name is Mila and I have chosen this picture above me. As you can see, this is an art piece because I'm an art historian and I had been working in the Museum of Contemporary Art for many years in Moscow, and now I live in Holland. And this poster was signed by an artist, so it's very kind of valuable for me. Maybe in 50 years I can sell it and get much money for it, we'll see. Меня зовут Мила. Всем добрый день. Я сейчас нахожусь в Москве временно, но вообще живу в Голландии, и мой объект — это постер известного японского художника, на выставке которого я работала, и это была моя последняя выставка, и мне удалось взять автограф. Надеюсь, что когда-нибудь смогу это продать и выручить много денег.
Ezzy.
It's me. Okay, so first I had the window, but then I looked around and I really saw something which has become a big part of my life this more than 1 year. It is a hand sanitizer. And I have all my pockets full of this and sitting right next to my desk as well. So it has two meanings. It somehow gives me the sense of security wherever I go, I use it, but I really and so much want to get rid of it. Okay, so at the same time, this is something I need and I have to have. But on the other hand, I really need to get rid of this. That means go back to normal life. So this is there's a double meaning of this thing. At the same time, we need it. At the second, hope to get rid of it soon. That means to see you all in person rather than speaking to you and looking at the screen. So that's hand sanitizer was my choice.
Мне кажется, все поняли без слов, что антисептик для рук сейчас, наверное, у каждого есть в комнате. То, что дает нам безопасность на сегодняшний день, но и то, от чего очень всем хочется избавиться. Я думаю, здесь не будет возражений.
Yeah,
Victor.
Very well. I could have done it myself. So thank you, Mila.
Извините.
No,
Victor,
it's okay.
we need a bit
you
of.
did it much better, but of course.
Okay, the next one is who, Jonathan?
Victor.
Victor.
Yes, hello everybody. So I am in my office and looking around. My sight fall on this icon, and so not every day I notice it, but this time I noticed, and so the name of this saint person is Saint Victor. And so somebody presented me this icon so it could protect me. And one more thing, I was named Victor by my uncle, who was killed at the war, at the Second World War. And I was named in his memory. So this is connection to our meeting here. And so it's a little bit symbolic that, well, I found this thing just by chance, but it really has connection to our meeting. Я переведу себя. Я увидел эту икону, я о ней, в общем-то, и забыл. То есть, когда входишь на работу, не обращаешь внимания к тем вещам, к которым привык. Но это икона святого Виктора. А моего дядю, который погиб на войне, во Второй мировой войне, звали Виктор, и меня назвали в честь моего дяди. И вот тут нашлась такая связь с темой нашей сегодняшней встречи. Ну, как-то символично вдруг как-то нашлась. Спасибо. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there we go to Tanya from Ukraine.
Hi, my name is Tanya. I'm from Ukraine, YMCA Boyarka. I choose coffee too, because I'm a little bit tired, and it's gain me energy. Меня зовут Таня, я с Украины, в YMCA Boerka. Тоже выбрала кофе, так как немного уставшая, и это мне поможет набраться энергии. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you.
Anastasia?
Hi, everyone. I'm Anastasia from Belarus, and I hold this picture. It was given to me by my friend. And actually today I'm quite in a blue mood, but I see the stars. So it's very symbolic for my mood today. Seeing stars, but being quite blue today. Да, я скажу по-русски. Я Настя или Анастасия из Беларуси, и я сегодня в таком грустном настроении. Вот, я держу в руках картину, которую подарила мне подруга, и на этой картине есть звезды, их много. Поэтому сегодня символично, что есть звезды, несмотря на грустное настроение. Все равно есть свет.
At first I saw with Dima, and I think so. Maybe you choose Dima.
Dima run away.
Yeah.
Marina?
Hello, everyone. My name is Marina. I'm from Belarus, from Brest. I speak English very bad. I'm sorry. Mila, can you help me, please? I chose maybe flowers because in my room so more flowers. It's spring. I love spring. I like spring, and I have not bad mood today. Yes.
Марина, все было замечательно.
Спасибо. Нужно переводить. Перевести или нет?
Нет.
Ну, я выбираю цветочки, потому что у меня цветочное настроение, я люблю весну, и у меня квартира наполнена цветами. Все.
Thank you, Marina.
Спасибо.
Who's next, Jonathan?
Ihar.
Hello, everyone. Excuse me, I'm outside. In Belarus now it's cold. I choose this device because by this device I can good hearing you. That's all. Thank you.
Я на улице в Беларуси, потому что сейчас очень холодно. Я выбрал вот этот девайс, ну, наушники с микрофоном, потому что почему?
Могу хорошо вас слышать.
Да.
Да.
Спасибо.
All right. Even kijken. Nika? From Vologin?
Ника, we don't hear you.
Очень плохо слышим. Скажите что-нибудь? Очень плохо. Может быть, есть наушники?
Вика?
Алло.
Алло. Ну, чуть-чуть лучше. It's a bit better.
But I continue in Russia because I have a lot of experience in English. Я взяла вот такую вот вещь, потому что буквально позавчера мы снимали на нее небольшое видео для того, чтобы выложить в Инстаграме 9 мая, и поэтому наша тема концентрируется, что я посмотрела вперед, сразу же увидела этот мини-стабилизатор.
It was hard to hear you, but Mila, did you understand? No?
Barely. Maybe, Nika, может быть, вы напишите в чат?
But I just understand that Nika chose this stuff for camera, stative, I don't know how it's in English, stative, because they filmed a few days ago, as I understand, something related to the war topic. Yes?
Okay.
As I heard. Okay, who is next?
Then we go to Lika with an L.
Hi, everybody again. Nice to meet you all. And like crazy, yeah, I would really like to meet you all in real, as we are so tired of this online world anymore. And I'm in a mood of friendship. That's why I chose this candle with this place of candle, which, by the way, I got as a gift from Nikita, who is one of participants of our Peacework Institute. After the event, we decided to send each other real letters because we were asking why people are not writing each other letters, everything is online. And we were sending each other real letters, which were going 2 months, and some small things like some small gifts. And this, she sent it to me, and it's written, friendship is a flame that burns in our hearts forever. That's why I'm in this mood.
Вы говорите на русском?
Да, я могу перевести. Добрый день. Я выбрала, как я уже показала на английском, эту свечку и подсвечник. Я получила ее как подарок от одной девушки, с которой мы вместе были в Peacework Institute, одной из программ YMCA Europe Roots for Reconciliation. И мы с ней договорились писать друг другу реальные, настоящие письма, потому что мы всегда говорили, почему люди больше не пишут друг другу письма. И мы отправляли эти письма и маленькие подарки. И вот я получила этот подарок, на котором еще написано, что дружба — это то, что остается в наших сердцах навечно.
Спасибо, Lika. Thank you, Lika. Who is next, Jonathan?
We now, as I'm correct, we only have Vardan and Alexander Dratsuk left. So Vardan?
Yeah. Vardan!
Here I am. I just muted my microphone. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I will translate also into Russian, so no need to fix what I'm saying. I have chosen this box. It's written Roots for Peace on it. And in this box, yes, and in this box is the Peace Medal, the Roots Peace Medal, which this year is to go to YMCA Kosovo. And now, because of the lockdown, I have many of these medals in my office. And I have the medal for Georgia. I have the medal for YMCA, for European Union, for Council of Europe. I have the medal for YMCA Kosovo. And I have the medal for individual medals, which we have. So I'm feeling like the king of the medals now. You know, in my office, I have all the medals. And I really count the day when I will be able to put these medals into my suitcase and take it to the first YMCA offline meeting and give it to the people who deserve it, who want it. So, and my name is Vartan. I'm YMCA Europe Executive Secretary and the coordinator of the Roots for Reconciliation or Roots for Peace project, within the framework of which this specific online conference is happening or workshop is happening, and the exchange will happen next year in the Netherlands. Так, меня зовут Вартан, я являюсь исполнительным секретарем YMCA Европы и координатором программы Roots корни мира, да, по-русски, проект, в рамках которого происходит примирение, в рамках которого происходит вот это вебинар и вообще вот тот сбор, который будет в будущем году. Я выбрал вот эту коробку, где находится медаль мира программы Roots. потому что у меня сейчас их очень много. Все лауреаты этих медалей, которые в YMCA Kosovo, в YMCA Грузии, Европейский Союз, Союз Европы, и все индивидуальные медали, они сейчас у меня лежат в моем офисе. Я жду того дня, когда я смогу их положить в мой чемодан, отвезти их куда-то в мире, где я смогу их отдать тем людям, которые заслуженно должны их держать навсегда. И желаю вам хорошей встречи.
Thank you, Vardan. And
Alexander Drachuk is the last one.
Hello, can you hear? Can you see me? Okay. My name is Alexander and I'm from Belarus. I am a Secretary General of YMCA Belarus, and I have chosen the telephone. I don't know if you see it. Yes. Because all our life and my life especially these days is absolutely online, and unfortunately or fortunately, but it's a fact. And I'm living with telephone, I'm eating with telephone, I'm sleeping with telephone, unfortunately. Thank you.
We need another language.
Да, на русском языке. Меня зовут Александр, я из Беларуси. Я выбрал телефон, потому что вся жизнь занята телефоном, и мы живем в онлайне практически, что и сейчас делаем. Вот, поэтому спасибо.
Thank you so much. Did everyone say? Yeah? I think everyone. Okay. So you can see that some things are really similar. Some of us are in stress and we need somehow to breathe and have a rest. Some of us want to build something. Some of us want to наградить, regard. Yeah? To award. Thank you. Award someone, to appreciate. So we are in a different condition, and we already found the connection to our topic, that the commemoration, the memory day of the Second World War, and the stories that that connect us. Even we was growing in different countries, but still this experience unite us. Я могу перевести, если ты хочешь. Да,
Спасибо.
Спасибо, что мы рассказали о себе, и что у нас есть что-то общее, например, что кто-то из нас в стрессе и как-то пытается его преодолеть кофе чем-то другим, кто-то из нас хочет кого-то наградить, кто-то что хочет строить, и какие-то предметы уже были связаны с темой Второй мировой войны, и это нас объединяет вне зависимости от того, где мы родились. And I will just take a few more minutes to let us know a bit more closer and to come to the topic closer. Я бы хотела, чтобы мы с вами познакомились немножечко еще поближе и подошли чуть ближе к самой теме. So, did everyone can switch off and switch on a camera? Все ли могут включать, выключать камеру? Все ли понимают, как это делать? Да? Yes, can we try to do it once? Можем ли мы один раз выключить все камеры? Can we switch off our camera? No camera. No camera. Okay, good. Okay. So what we are going to do now, thank you. Stay like this, okay? Давайте пока не включаем. I will ask you a question, and if it's about you, I ask you to switch on the camera, okay? If it's about you. Я задам вопрос, если он про вас, тогда включайте камеру. Если он не о вас, не включайте камеру. So, who is in YMCA less than 1 year? Кто в YMCA меньше 1 года? Switch on your camera. Включите камеру, если вы меньше, чем 1 год в YMCA. Окей. Никого. Отлично. So, switch on your camera if you are in YMCA more than 5 years. Включите камеру, если в YMCA больше 5 лет. More than 5 years. Who's in YMCA? More than 5. 1. Oh. Okay. Say hello to To each of you, see this skip. Okay, thank you. Switch off your camera. It will be the exercise for your hand. Switch on and switch off. Who is in YMCA more than 10 years? More than 10 years. Who is, кто в YMCA больше, чем 10 лет? Долгожители YMCA. Кто эти гордцы? Okay, hi people. Now we know who we are. Thank you again. Switch off. And maybe I miss, наверное, я пропустила. Who is in YMCA from 1 to 5 years? Кто в YMCA от 1 до 5 лет? 3-4 годика. Ага. Who is in YMCA 3-4 years? Okay, wave your hands. Appreciate yourself that you are here. Помогайте рукой, что вы здесь, что вы видите друг друга. Окей, спасибо. Выключайте камеру. Сейчас еще пару вопросов. There are a few questions. Switch off the camera. Who from you working is peace building area? Кто из нас работает в миротворчестве? Who is us working in peace building area? Whatever it means. Все, что как угодно это означает. Maybe, может искусство, может быть терапия, может быть по трудоустройству проекты, восстановление городов. Who is working in peace building area in art, in reconstruction of cities after the war with refugees, whatever you mean about this. Okay,
Nata,
just appreciate yourself.
Nata, sorry, I think General Secretary works everywhere. That's why I switch on my camera, yeah? General Secretary, so.
If it's about you, you switch on.
Yeah, okay.
You can, it's your decision. It's how you relate to this. It's okay. Okay, thank you. Just look at yourself, who you are in monitor. Просто гляньте, кто на мониторе, и мы выключаем камеры. Еще один вопрос. Подумайте. Чья семья, у кого в семье есть опыт Второй мировой войны? Кто-то воевал там или был медсестрами. Whose family is related to Second World War?
Question.
Whose family is related to Second World War?
Grandfather qualifies, or?
Grandfather, mother, grandfather.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who they were, soldiers or doctors or okay, everyone, all the people are related, you see. Okay, next one questions. Who knows the family stories about the Second World War? Кто знает семейные истории про Вторую мировую войну? For me, it's a bit different question, yeah? You can know that your family was related, but you don't know anything about this. Как для меня это два разных вопроса, да? Вы можете знать, что у вас в семье есть опыт, но не знать историй никаких. Поэтому who knows stories? Okay, just look at you. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
Hi, Maria. Hi, my dear. Just when now we work with know each other with sociometry, if the questions is related to you, you switch on your camera. If not, switch off. Okay?
Okay. Is to put off my camera.
If the questions I will ask related to you, just switch on your camera. The next one questions.
Okay.
Whose country was involved or has been involved in war in our days? Чья страна воевала или воюет в наши дни? Whose country involved in war in our days? Not 10 years ago, not maybe.
It's very political question.
It's your, it's how you feel, about this. What does it mean that your country involved? Да, то есть что-то для вас означает, что ваша страна вовлечена в войну. Может быть, у вас стреляют, а может быть, это информационное пространство. So it's up to you. Okay, there is few more questions just about this. Thank you for your answer. Next one question. Who know about the war with his or her own experience? Кто знаком лично с войной? Может быть, вы воевали, или вы были волонтерами, может, вы были военными журналистами. It means, who knows about the war, not just from newspapers and video, who was involved in the war. Maybe you was work near the war zone, maybe you are a journalist, maybe you're a filmmaker about this. Somehow you had this in your own experience. Thank you so much that you are so honest in this. The next questions, who's from us documented something about the war? Who, for example, you have a diary, or you collect posts in media, or photo or video. Maybe it's not your own experience, but you are interested in this, you read about this, you collect this information. Кто из нас интересуется темой войны и собирает документы какие-то, имеется в виду публикации, фотографии, может быть, вы не имеете личного опыта, но для вас это важно, и вы собираете этот опыт сейчас, который, к сожалению, происходит, наверное, в наших странах. Okay, just look at who are these people. And just 2 more questions and we finish with this. Who knows who works with refugees, veterans or IDPs? Кто из нас работает по своей деятельности с ветеранами войны, с переселенцами или с беженцами? Who works with refugees, IDPs or veterans, soldiers, ex-soldiers?
Does it also count for the past? Because I don't work with refugees.
Yeah, it counts. Yeah, of course. Okay, and the last question. Thank you. Now we know who the people. Who from us who feel that personal stories about the war, doesn't matter, Second World War or nowadays wars, are important to learn from them? Кто считает, что личные истории о войне, в любой войне, Второй мировой, наших войнах современности, важны, чтобы учиться с них? I see that almost everyone are on monitor. Thank you so much that you answered on this question. Maybe it's, for me, this question is also important and to go deeper in this topic and to think about what was in my background and what I have now, and to see the people who are like me, that I am not alone in this experience. Для меня важно в этих вопросах, что мы видим, как я с темой связана, немножко об этом подумать, что у меня в прошлом, что у меня есть сейчас, и получить поддержку, что я не одна в такой непростой теме. So this was like a bit big, but introduction to the topic that brings us to the stories and our program. Thank you.
Very good.
Это наше представление, вступление в тему, которая нас связывает с дальнейшими историями и программой на сегодня.
Very good. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, because today will be all about stories. We are going to tell some stories that relate to the topics of war and of peace. But we also invite you to tell your stories or stories you have heard.
Мы сегодня будем рассказывать наши личные истории, Йонтон имел в виду, наверное, больше организаторов, но также мы будем очень рады, если участники поделятся своими историями.
Because during the war, there were many people, and every individual has a story to tell. And behind every person is a story, which is sometimes tragic, sometimes sad, but sometimes it's also more optimistic. And it's important to keep track of all these things.
Потому что у каждого есть своя история, когда-то они могут быть трагичными, но иногда и оптимистичными, важными поделиться.
Very good. Then we go to the mentee, Irina.
У нас сейчас будет активность в Менте, и Ирина будет ее организовывать.
In the chat box, you can find the link to the menti.com. It's menti.com. I would like to kindly ask you to go to the webpage and enter the code 46 49 62 57.
В чате есть ссылка на Минте, можно ее открыть, и там же есть код, который нужно ввести.
Is there someone who isn't familiar with Menti, with how it works?
Есть ли кто-то, кому нужно объяснить, что такое Минти?
I think we've all used it, right? If
No,
not,
I didn't. Sorry.
all right. It's actually really simple.
Yes, it's very simple. Just go to the web page and then enter the code.
Yes, I already did that. It asks me to write an answer on how can we apply the past for a peaceful future.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just in 3 words, in 1 sentence, please describe how is the past related to the future.
На вопросы нужно коротко ответить, буквально несколько слов. Если непонятны вопросы, ну, скажите, да, мы тоже их переведем.
Yeah, you can write it also in Russian, of course. That's not a problem.
Yes, of course.
Можно также ответить на русском, соответственно.
We already have one answer. Peaceful away without fear. Learning lessons but honestly.
Ника, нужен еще перевод на русский язык? Там в чате был вопрос.
Да, я вижу.
Да?
Угу. Да. Давайте мы в чат просто, я просто в чат напишу.
Окей, хорошо.
We already have 13 answers. Amazing.
Wow. Oh, I see some beautiful answers there. My question would be, what kind of lessons can we learn? Does someone has an example?
Кто-нибудь может дать пример, какие уроки мы можем выучить?
If you have an answer, please raise your hand. Alex, your hand's raised.
There are many lessons we can learn from the past. But if we are talking about war, because I've heard talking about war, especially the Second World War, what can we learn is that the hatred, the hate, and the problems then that can lead from war to war, has its causes in the already broken economy or society. Remember the guy who came in Germany, promised everything to make things right with a hateful speech, with a hateful discourse. What can we learn is to not bite that bait and to dodge the people who are hating on minorities and things like that.
Thank you, Alex. Anybody has any other answer? In this case, I think the part of the Menti is already over, and all these answers you will find they are very related to the stories that will be presented today, and we will meet with the Menti again.
Could it be translated what Irina said?
Irina, could you repeat, please, because I still have problems hearing you.
Okay, then I will try to speak as loud as possible. So I said that everything that was mentioned on the Menti, this will be saved because they are very related to the stories and the discussion we are going to have today, and we will go back to Menti by the end of the event.
Все, что мы сейчас написали, это останется в менте, и мы еще будем возвращаться к этому, потому что все, что было написано, собственно, имеет отношение непосредственно к нашей встрече.
Very good. All right. I'm going to tell a story. Story time.
Йонтон будет первым, кто расскажет свою историю.
The story I'm going to tell is very short, and it's the story of my own grandfather.
Это очень короткая история, но это история его дедушки.
Because my grandfather, well, he is no longer living, but I still feel a lot connected to him.
Он, к сожалению, уже не жив, но Йонтон все равно чувствует большую связь с ним.
My grandfather, during the war, he was a young man. He was 18 years old, and he was forced to work in Germany. Everywhere in Europe, young people were forced to go to Germany to work in the factories because all the Germans were, of course, in fighting.
Дедушке было 18, и во время войны, как многие другие молодые люди, он обязан был работать на фабриках в Германии. Я думаю, может быть, я буду писать в чат перевод на русском. Йонтон, I think I'll write translation in our chat in Russian, so not to interrupt you.
Very good. The point is, my grandfather, many years after he got back to the Netherlands, he wrote down his experiences. And the interesting thing about his experiences is that he, on the one hand, he did really not like this time. It was forced. It was hard labor. It was war. On the other hand, he also tried to see the humanity in everything. So he did see these guys are Germans, but they are our enemies. But on the other hand, they're also just normal people. And I have two very short passages that are going to explain that a bit. And this is something he wrote himself. I took the liberty of translating it to English, but he wrote it himself. And it's about a very small town where he lived near Stuttgart. And he said when he came there, initially, the local population, the Germans, were really resistant to our coming. Our arrival scared them because our arrival allowed more of their sons and of their husbands to be sent to the Eastern Front. Only after we explained that we didn't come to Germany to work in their factories voluntarily, they started to become friendly. Many Germans had heard the news of Stalingrad, and they knew that they would lose the war. They were terrified of it. Everyone was afraid of everyone. This you noticed everywhere, in the trams and the trains, on the platforms and in restaurants. People were silent. Schwaben and Württembergers, which is the region where he stayed, are very peaceful people, but they were all really afraid of Berlin. They were all really afraid of the Nazis. And because of the enormous losses of German soldiers, many young people became widows. We have been spoken to by a woman who offered shelter in exchange for protection. This could allow us to escape our primitive living spaces. But what were we to do? It's impossible to take that offer. That could only lead to troubles. Well, this is a very, very small piece of a very long text, which is around 20 pages. And I picked these because, not because it shows a lot about the Dutch in Germany, but it shows about ways on which you can look to war. I mean, if you take my grandfather's texts, you can see a lot of anti-German stuff. So you can hear him say things like, well, the Germans, they keep us as slaves. The Germans, they deserve all the bombing, which he does say, let's be honest. However, on the other hand, he also has to realize that the normal people of Germany, they hadn't really chosen for that war either. They were terrified. They were really afraid of all these foreigners coming to work in their factories. It's a very difficult story because it shows that no one was happy with the situation right there, and everyone was basically overwhelmed by this horrible war. Listening to that, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the ability to understand two sides of a conflict? The last question you can
Could you repeat your question again?
My question is, what do you guys think? What do you think about looking at two sides of a conflict as a way of remembering? You can speak it out loud.
I think it was important to have more empathy for the other side. When we think into two parts, it's more easy to how I say to feel empathy, but it's not the word that I want to say. I will try to remember the right word, and after I can write in the chat. Thanks.
Yeah, I also, yeah. I do agree with Marie. I think empathy is a really nice word because it's really important to divide people and the political decisions and the government. And I can also understand that some soldiers, not only citizens, but also soldiers, they were following the order. And sometimes you don't know all angles of this order. You just have to follow it. And I think the story of Jonathan's granddad is a really great story that he, as I understood, he didn't have any hatred inside him till his last days. It was a tough experience, I suppose, but have you ever heard him saying some tough words, some harsh words about Germany?
well, to keep it really personal, it's a really difficult position he was in, because when he got back to the Netherlands, people thought he didn't try hard enough to avoid being, well, sent to Germany to work. He could have, of course, gone into hiding, even though it would risk his entire family. It's really traumatizing, and it was for everyone probably involved in that war, always being followed by these decisions you made.
Well, I actually have a story that can, and I think relates to your question, and that is the story of my grandma, actually, who is still alive. She will turn 96 this August, and she was born in 1925, and her brother was drafted, and he died in 1942, if I remember correctly, somewhere in Ukraine. The war never came to the Georgian soil, but there were hundreds of thousands of Georgians drafted to join the Soviet army, of which Georgia was the part of course. So I know this, of course, there was a big bitterness in her. She was very young when she lost her brother, but after the war ended, she tells that there were lots of prisoners of war brought to Georgia to build different infrastructure and buildings and so forth. And she and I know her stories that they were really starving because there was not enough food for even the locals, because after the war, there was the severe shortage of everything. But she tells that there were a lot of people, including some kids, and trying to share some food with the prisoners of war. So that is the human side of it. Like, even though lots of people lost their loved ones and close ones, they saw beyond that hatred, and they tried to share some food, very little that they had, with the prisoners of war. So that is I think that's the hope of mankind, that in the end, the compassion or empathy, as Maria said, always, not always, unfortunately, but very often overcomes the hate, which is in you. And that's, I mean, you cannot avoid it when you lose someone, I have been very embittered myself, in my recent history, but I was able to see beyond that, because I know that I knew that there's a distinction between, there can be a government or the army, and then certain people, individuals. So I think it's very important to overcome that hate, which is self-generated in you. There is no escape from that, but I think it can be overcome and should be overcome. Yeah, that was my feedback.
Is there someone else who wants to say something related to this topic?
Yes, I can also add some just few facts, because I have also grandparents, and they were too young to participate in the war, but they were living in the occupied territory. And my grandmother, she also saw many prisoners and many Nazis, and her family suffered a lot, but I've never heard a word from my grandparents, something about Germany. Never. They could always divide it. Citizens, soldiers, political decisions, orders. So I really admire their experience and their attitude.
Could you Russify it?
Да, я хотела сказать, что у моих бабушки с дедушкой подобная история. Они жили на оккупированной земле и очень много видели своими глазами. Их семьи страдали, соседи были убиты. Тем не менее, я никогда от них не слышала ни единого слова о Германии, ничего плохого, никогда. Они часто рассказывали истории, но никакой ненависти в этих... Ну, в смысле, естественно, эти истории тяжелые, никакой ненависти к современной Германии и к жителям никогда этого не было в нашей семье. И я очень восхищаюсь таким подходом.
Thank you. I now see a raised hand from Vardan, and after that we're going to the next story of Irina.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to really salute you and say how wise you are. I just see your conclusions, and the feeling is not, it's not just young people around this table. It's like, you know, doctors of history and psychology, really. I think you really highlighted the most important words: empathy and hate. I think these are what are fighting, you know, during the war and after the war. The peace comes when the regret is there, you know, for what was done. And if you don't have the feeling of empathy, then that regret will never come. You will stay in the hate side, and the war repeats. I think what is really important is that people fight against hate before, during, and after the war. Hate is a horrible thing, and it can always bring you know, horrible results. So I think you just you know, hit the target, and I really enjoy hearing your discussion. Thank you.
Very good. Irina.
Hello again. As you know, this event is not only about stories from the Second World War, so for today I decided to talk about... I decided to talk about my personal experience because my country had to go through some conflicts and wars that I had to see myself when I was a kid. And my story was related to how I was growing up with this conflict situation all around me. I had to see two military conflicts in one war by myself. And for a very long time, I had these memories of staying in darkness at night because the whole town had to hide from the airplanes flying in the sky. And when I was growing up, I had really fear of listening to the music of the news program because it used to remind me of the programs and news that they used to report during the wartime. So Mila, if it's too fast to translate, I can slow down. So
can you please repeat this just one more time about music in your headphones?
Sorry?
You said about music in your headphones. Was it...
I said when I used to hear the music, like the sound of the news program started, it used to be something very scary for me because it was related to war memories. And I thought that this was the mark that war left on me. And when I was growing up, I was always talking to my grandfather, and he is a fan of history. And he was always telling me that the people have to take actions, and there is nobody who will come and who will solve your problem. So
could you repeat his phrase, please?
That nobody will come to help you, and you have to take actions by yourself.
Sorry, I can't catch it.
Can anybody get it?
Nobody can help you?
Nobody can help you, and you have to take the responsibility for everything. This was his idea. You shouldn't wait for others to come and save you. Okay, shall I continue?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So now I am in Romania, and my story is more oriented on my life in Romania and me meeting people here. Here I met a girl, and soon she became one of the best friends I have ever had in my life. Like, we are very related to each other, like same appearance, same goals, same dreams. Even our childhood habits and memories are quite similar. And this girl, she's from Kosovo. And we were making a lot of plans together, like what we want to change, all the projects and all the programs that we want to implement. But at some point, we realized that the past wars that our countries had to go through made it impossible for us to travel in each other's countries. In the beginning, this was a little bit sad for us. It looked really sad because it sounded like our dreams and our plans were in danger. But of course, quickly we started searching for all the safe zones where we could both travel. And we started searching for all the ways and opportunities how we could make our plans and our goals come true. So with this story, I want to tell you that now I can understand more what my grandfather meant when he told me to make the change by myself. Because to make the peace and to make the change, you should start making small changes in your life, and that's how the peace starts. Vardan always says it starts from the smile, and yes, in friendship, our friendship surely started from the smile. And my question would be, I know that here are people who have very relatable stories to me, like they had to live in the same situation as me. So how they try to be the ambassadors of the peace in their community, and how are they building bridges and breaking the walls?
Could you repeat your question? Last question, please.
How are they trying to be the ambassadors of the peace in their community? And what are the tools they are using to build the bridges and not the walls?
The question basically comes down to, if I understand correctly, what can we do? What can we in our society of today? What can we do?
Yes. What are you doing to start the peace? Like small steps, baby steps. Any advice for us? Or something you have heard that inspired you? Anything could work.
May I say a few words?
Of course.
Please.
Yeah, first of all, I'm sorry, guys, that I'm late. Actually, I mixed up the time. Sorry for that. And as for peace, I think what is the most important is to start with ourselves and with love to ourselves. I know it's kind of a big words and it's probably hard to like understand maybe sometimes or comprehend, but for me is what it is for me is just to love myself, and doesn't matter if I don't want to do something, or if I cannot do something, or if I don't understand something, still love. And what helped me in building peace with others is to remember that others might have different picture of the world, kind of have different cinema, what we are like watching together. And just to keep it in mind that my picture of my life might be really different than others. And sometimes not just to, push someone and to make them understand your picture of life, but trying to see from different perspectives, see different angles of it. And maybe you don't understand, but still respect. And I think it's the most important, just respect. You might be not agree with someone, but what you have to do is respect the other's point of view, others' life, and others' decisions.
Thank you.
Irina, maybe you could give us more details about the story with your friend from Kosovo. Did you find a way to meet each other?
No, it was very easy to meet each other because we are working in the same project. But as far we don't live in our countries, we are here in Romania, and this is safe ground for us. It was easy to arrange all the meetings and all the documents. And in the beginning, I didn't even know that we had this kind of problem, and this diplomatical situation was making it impossible for us to travel in each other's countries. I found out that my country doesn't recognize her passport, and also it's impossible for me to go to her country. But still, it doesn't matter because if there's a friendship and if there's a way, there are a lot of ways to travel and to meet each other. And plus, now we already know the power of the online world, which we also can use for our own benefit. Any more questions?
Any questions? Otherwise, I would like to ask you, it doesn't have to relate to the stories before, but do you guys have a story you want to share? It can be a story of your grandfather. It can be a story of your cat for that matter. Is there a story you want to share? We believe that sharing stories is a great way of connecting people. So in the one hand, you will see that history is full of all kinds of individual stories, but even today, stories can really help to bring people together. Is there something you want to tell?
I have a short story, if it's possible to share.
Please.
Actually, it's like my personal story. It's not about the war, what happened like almost 76 years ago. It's my personal story, and I was part of Peace Work Institute. And of course, as you know, there are countries which are kind of in conflict. And I had difficult time of being there with some Ukrainian girl. And because I just couldn't understand her probably point of view. And for me, it was kind of difficult to participate in events in like different activities with her. But then we had a chance to talk. And after that conversation, everything turned out. So she shared her problems, her difficulties, her challenges, what she was going through. I shared mine. And I think that moment, I know it's kind of stuck in my memory. And I realized that it's just better to talk all the time and share. And it might be really connecting starting point. So I don't know, I just remember it. It's pretty simple, like not really a long conversation we had, but for me, it was really like changing experience.
That's interesting. How often does it happen that we meet someone with a totally different point of view?
Every day, I believe.
If I can speak on behalf of the Roots project, of which Nastya was talking about, yes, that's the whole point of the project, and that's what we have been facilitating and experiencing ourselves by the way, because of course Vardan, Marius, and myself are the core staff of the project, but we have our own personalities as well, right? So we live through what participants are living through. So we have incredible stories of like what Nastya was just talking about, like people from, I don't want to mention specific countries, but let's say conflicting sides really coming together and like some beautiful friendships being born in front of our eyes. So this is definitely the main reason why we are implementing this project and why we've been doing it for so long. And I believe this is the purpose of this particular meeting, which hopefully next year will materialize into something face-to-face and tangible. Yeah, so we can hug each other and talk to each other without sanitizers and the masks. So yeah, the whole story of Roots has been this, with lots of challenges involved, of course. It's not so easy to bring people from opposing sides, let's call it, together, but we have lots of success stories that make us believe in what we do, and what we do is right. That's the whole point. So yeah, there are many of them. So if this synergy of this group continues, and we'll have a lot of other opportunities to witness it ourselves. That's what I wanted to say. Maybe within this group as well.
Well, many thanks. I want to stress that if you want to tell a story in Russian, it's all possible, of course. I mean, translation also works the other way around. So feel free to just go and talk. Then we go to the third story, which is, well, the third from ours at least, which is from Valentin.
So I will show you one picture, one photo. So you see this photo, yeah? Or no?
Yeah, we.
Yeah,
we see it.
Okay. So when I was a student of history faculty, I heard a lot of different story about the Second World War. And most of all tell us about the tragedy of this war. But today I really want to tell you a story about love. It's not the story of my own family, but I'd like to share this one with you. This story about this woman, her name is Maria Demina, and she took part in the Second World War. And her story was a secret for everyone for about 67 years. Before she died, she shared this story with her daughter. So let's imagine. It was June of 1941. This woman was 16, 17, and she graduated school. She had very great plans for her future. She wanted to enter the university and became a doctor. But on the 22nd of June, her village was occupied, and there was a German airfield on it, near it. And a lot of soldiers lived in that village, German soldiers. At the beginning, everything was okay for everybody and nobody resisted. And in 1941, village people lived mostly like the typical life. They worked in the field, did their housework. Sometimes villagers spend their free time with dances and music in their local club, and Germans took part in it. And one day Maria came to the club, and Germans brought a gramophone, and all people danced together, and an officer invited Maria for a dance. Maria didn't know what happened, but after she said that it was love at first sight. After evening, he took her home. The officer told Maria about his family. He was an artist before, and he didn't want to fight. But now he was an officer and he must follow orders. Near the house, Maria's father saw them, and the father ordered Maria to forget about this officer because he was German. Their friendship may cause very big problems to their family. And Maria became a prisoner of her own family. And through they kept dating secretly. Once the officer came to her family and talked to her parents. He said that he was not an enemy. He didn't want to fight, and father told him to go away because their relationship can cause problem for everyone. And at because at that time the guerrillas came to that area. The officer went. Later, Maria received a letter from him, and the officer declared his love and asked Maria to marry him. Yeah. And Maria didn't know what to do at that time, but fate decided from them. In some days, the officer's plane was shut down. This war changed Maria's life, and after 1943, she volunteered as a nurse, and she returned home only in 1945. Later, she had a man, a daughter, but she carried her secret with her through her entire life. This love story she shared with the daughter in the very end, keeping smiling, remembering her first love, first kiss, and their talks. Yeah, it was one of the stories that I heard when I was a student. I don't know this woman, but I know her daughter. Yeah. And what is my question? It's not so how to. So my question is, I'm a father of, and I have a daughter, and I can really, I don't know what to say, what I can say to my daughter if she was on this situation. So what do you think? Let's think that you are father or mom of this woman, and what would you like to say it? She.
Who would like to say something? Imagine that you have children and your son or daughter falls in love with someone that should be your enemy. How would you react?
Well, I can answer, I think. Well, we speak about the same daughter, but anyway, you know, I'm just thinking that due to my own experience following the conflict in Belarus, current conflict, I mean, I realized that I'm not mature enough just to stay a part of my own emotions and to accept the opposite side. And so in this situation, I just think that if it happens on my current mind, I would be that aggressive, the same aggressive that the family was in Maria's story. I would do the same, I think, because there would be enough hate in myself to protect my daughter from the enemy that I mean, if you know what I mean. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, so I'm not sure that I would be really wise and loving toward my daughter in this situation. Truly saying this.
Well, I do agree, because I think in this situation, the father, his actions, they were perhaps taken because of fear, to protect the whole family, to protect the village. So nevertheless, it's hard to understand it. I don't want to judge. I want to believe that it was the only way he saw. That's why he did it like that. Я думаю, что это был единственный выход на тот момент, и это было сделано не из-за ненависти, скорее из-за страха за семью, за всю деревню. И не хочется судить, но я думаю, что, наверное, это был единственный реальный вариант развития событий для него в тот момент.
I can say for myself, I think I would be way too scared. So I probably wouldn't even allow my daughter to come close. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's a very dangerous situation. And it's very difficult to, I mean, it's easy talking now, of course, but I think I would be too afraid to even allow these things, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say it's easy to say, like sitting here now, but like when you imagine the situations, yes, and the feelings, it's very difficult to overcome your feelings. And I think, yeah, we should be honest and recognize the weaknesses, because of course the feeling of the hate is always a weakness, but then yes, humans are weak. So it takes lots of courage, and it takes special people, and really set an example to overcome those fears and hatred and the negativity that comes upon you. And you think that's all is natural, because that's what you feel against the other side. So there is no universal answer. I would say these are heroes that overcome those feelings and still go for what's above all this. But yeah, it's difficult to give an answer like this and to prescribe a remedy, because yeah, we can all say, oh yes, of course, love is the ultimate, and of course it is. But yeah, there are always situations, and these are individual decisions that people make because of many reasons. Yeah, so I really appreciate such people that can go beyond all those feelings, because it's not easy at all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any other person who wants to say something to respond to that question? Or if you want, you can tell your own story, of course. We are going to, with this event, all the stories we tell today, we have told. So my story and the story of Irina and the story of Valentin, that will be put online. They will be put online on a blog, which is hosted on the YMCA Roots for Peace website. I will put the link in the chat box, and I will do it in the end too, because the chat box is pretty full as it is. And if you have a story you have to tell, if you have a story you want to share, then you can do that. So you can send it to us, and then we can post it online. Victor wants to say something.
Yes, so your story, Valentin, raised some feelings inside me. First of all, as for that story that you shared, I think that there is no answer that this decision is right and this is wrong. If to put yourself in some other's position, you will feel one thing. If in the other shoes, you will feel another. So from my point of view as a father, yes, in that situation, I will not allow my daughter to contact, to fall in love with this person, because if this person is not the personal enemy to you, to this family, but this foreign army fighting with our army, and so they, not this person, but other, they killed our people, and how it could be this love marriage between in this situation. So, and I would like to share my story about also love between my parents. So my father went to the front line in 1941 when he was 17, just after he graduated from the 10th grade. And he was wounded and got into hospital. And in 1944, he met my future mother in the hospital, where she, as a medical student, worked there as a nurse, volunteer. And in 1945, my father finished the war in Berlin. He was already an officer, and he took my mother to Berlin, and for 2 years he served there in Soviet army military squad there. And in 1947, my daughter appeared. My sister was born there in Germany. And afterwards they came back to Ukraine, and I was born. So I am a product of this war love, so-called. So this is another love story. In this case, it was happy. Well, and yes, that's why. So I feel very close to this theme, World War, war in itself. Of course, war it's tragic. It's awful thing. But sometimes good things happen. I mean myself. Thank you.
Very good. Very interesting story, Victor. I think we're going further, just with a side eye on the time. Many thanks for sharing your story, Victor. Really, it was really interesting. Valentin? Or no,
yeah.
You first.
So
yes, Valentin.
So the Second World War lasted 5 years, and 57 countries took part in it. In effect, 1 in 7 billion people was on it. Total number of its victims reached approximately 16 60 million people. And today we can say that the Second World War was one of the greatest tragedy in our history. It's not just some statistics or redesigned maps of different countries. And let's think how many people were affected by this war. Some of them mentally, emotionally, physically. How many tears did it bring? And today we invite you to observe a minute of silence in memory of the victims of that war, and thank them, and think about them. So if you have some candle, I propose you to light it. If you have no, I will do it for you. And so let's make this minute.
Could you repeat that also for the Russian speakers, Valentin?
Да, yes. So, мы данной свечой мы хотим почтить память тех людей, которые принимали участие в войне, не только солдат, но вспомните своих близких, кто принимал участие, и давайте вспомним, почтим их память минутой молчания. У кого есть свеча, может зажечь. Мы вот такой вариант вам предлагаем. So, thank you for all of us, and thank you them.
Very good. We're running near the end, but we're not there yet because we are going to do a second Menti. Irina, we can't hear you.
Please, for one more time, go to menti.com. The code is 2175.
Could you write the code in the chat?
Yes, yes. And I will also share the screen. This is the code 2175 96 62.
Can you type it in the chat?
Yes, it's already in the chat.
Is it?
Is it? Not in my
It's
chat.
not. No.
Perhaps it was private chat.
Put it to everyone. Maybe you have posted to
okay,
someone privately.
already.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah.
Okay,
So
now
that way we
it's
just.
everyone.
Yeah, it's there now. Yes.
So for all the people that entered a bit later, Menti means that you go to menti.com and type in the code.
Enter the code.
Could Mila, could you write the question in the chat?
Yes, we already discussed about this in the beginning, but let's see if anything changed after listening to all the stories. And please write down 3 words that you consider the most important and integral part of the peace building based on the stories and activities that we have today. Well, looks like empathy is the leader, followed by love, respect, and understanding.
I'm really curious. Who was the one that wrote down out of duality?
It was me. Ow. Okay.
What did you mean by it, if you want to answer? Do you want to answer?
She's busy writing.
She will type.
Oh,
She says she will type.
Excuse us. I didn't see that. Then I go a bit further. I also see written. Wait, it has changed a bit. Let's see.
Willing to be heard. Heard.
Which one?
Willing to be heard.
Willing to feel. Willing to feel the heart. I think it was the. Who did write that?
To be heard. To be heard.
Ah.
I don't know. It was not me, but I'm just guessing, assuming.
Makes actually a lot of sense. Although I like heart also in this context.
Well, now it's a competition between understanding and empathy, but empathy is still going on the first place.
This is my first introduction to this menti.com, and I find it very useful for such things.
Really?
So,
Okay.
yes, really. Yeah.
Yes.
I never used it before, so cool stuff.
Yeah. Happy to help you learn something.
The older I get, the more I'm willing to learn.
Okay, 15 people responded. So is anybody still waiting, or we have one more question left and then that's it? Okay. And what are you going to take with you from this event? What did you learn? What inspired you? What was the most memorable moment for you?
We already know Rezi's answer.
That's one of, should I write the menti? Yes. No, there are bigger things as well. So, but you already know menti, so I'm not going to do that. I'll do something else.
Great story.
Short answers are recommended.
That wisdom resides within us. Everyone has a story that deserves to be heard. Hope, because I see people who are dedicated to understand and support others, and open-mindedness. Inspiration, ideas for future work, fellowship, motivation, knowledge. Well, it's interesting. What do you mean by future work? And what kind of inspiration was given to you?
Yeah, well, that was me. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Roots right now, because it's their ideas of how we proceed with this, because we want to proceed with this, and so
well, in this case,
there
it's
were lots of ideas in my brain born during this 2 hours. So we want to build upon them as we plan to do something, like we said, next year, and as a build-up before that, because I hope this is not the last time we meet before we physically meet in 2022, hopefully. So that was it. And knowledge, the menti was part of the knowledge part, Jonathan.
Open-mindedness. I like that one.
And there are some more, which is to make sense for time. Opinions and inspiration to find more information about my family in the period. Well, yes, I was also inspired to find about my family's history, because I know nothing about their involvement in wartime. Different human experiences which reconstruct history and fill empty places. Yes. Waiting for 2 more answers, I think.
a new perspective on war. Also quite an adult one, actually. All right. I think we're going to buckle this up. Alex already left, I see. And the time has come for us as well. But not before I say some last few things. First of all, many thanks for all of you joining. I hope you consider today to be interesting, but also, well, enjoyable, let's be honest. I know that some people requested certificates to be, well, to be made. And I want to say to you, well, if you want those, we have prepared them. Please send us a message. You can do that in the chat right now. Then I'm going to say, this event is the part of a longer campaign. And this campaign will not end before next year, when we will have a physical youth exchange in the Netherlands, Erasmus+. And I suppose I will see some of you there. I'm looking forward to it, really. Secondly, keep use of, make use of our hashtag. And if you want a story, if you want to read one of the stories we have, you can find them on our blog. And if you want to add a story to our blog, these are really, really welcome. You can do that by seeking contact with us. I will share in the chat my email address. You can just send it. Please use the hashtag in all your things, whatever. That will work. And I actually am now waiting for the last words. Does anyone have some last words with which to close this activity?
And I, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say one concluding word about this brain exercise we did about war and peace. And I want to highlight one thing. I think you talk about these things in general. When you talk about these things in general, somehow it's difficult. But when you talk about specific, then it becomes clear, because the lessons, when you learn, they are specific lessons. And I would like to really highlight one thing, that it's thanks to the German people that today we are able to talk about the Second World War in this way, the way they accepted the history, the way they are dealing with that history. And I have a huge respect to this nation, because I think that's the lesson that we should learn. That sometimes you make a mistake as a nation also, but you have to really take your mistake and regret what you have done, because when you regret, you learn a lesson. This is just I don't know if you have any German participants, but I really want that our vibes to go to all our German friends. They are great people. They are a great nation. This is one thing. The second thing I want to say, I want to really thank you, Jonathan. Also, the others who helped you to organize around this event, Irina, Natalia, Mila, Valentin, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful event. It's so difficult to organize such events, online. We have a couple of them tried to organize also with failures and successes. This was a successful event, interesting event with great learning experience. And I'm so happy that you are all part of the project I am coordinating. Thank you very much.
Beautiful words. Beautiful
Yeah,
words.
just to really very briefly, I wrote it in the chat box as well. I really want to thank, of course, all the participants, but want to highlight the planning team, and Vardan already mentioned them. It takes lots of energy and commitment and hours in general to organize such events. And thank you very much for doing it in a very professional and very relevant manner. So great job, guys, and I'm sure this is a foundation for something bigger that will continue together. So thanks again.
All right. Then I will